So, best strategy to scale an e-commerce brand through SEO. Right. Best strategies as we see them, right, are always the same. We focus on longevity. So, to begin, you're going to worry about both on-page and off-page factors, right? So you need to have a content plan as well as a off-page plan, which is backlinking, right? In order to emulate press going to this new thriving business that is sprouted up, rather. So, you know, if you're a beginner and you're getting started, the best way to do this is to create a topical map for content, which I'll go over some of that stuff too. It's not just going to include low-hanging fruit, right? It's going to include a umbrella that houses everything under the most competitive terms as well as those most competitive terms. So like when I'm getting set up, maybe I do, one sec, this will be easier. Maybe I've started a business here, or my website's going to be about lands, or well, it's e-commerce, let's say garden tools. Okay. Come on, man. Sorry for all the rudimentary stuff we're using and how pretty this is going to be, but yeah. So you got garden tools. Doing keyword research, and I'm just going to go ahead and say this. You know, you can do it a bunch of different ways. I like to just use Ahrefs at this point, and I'm not only building out low-hanging fruit keywords, which would be down here, I guess, but also the higher target stuff right out of the gate. I'm going to try and go after that. So we'll say difficulty, like high difficulty, right? Sorry, low difficulty stuff. And I'm going to do mid difficulty stuff too. All of this based on keyword research, but right out of the gate, I'm probably going to produce these articles knowing that I don't have a chance of ranking for them. Then I'll start creating more mid and low tier articles underneath that umbrella, because basically you want the target to be there no matter what. You're not just going to start out going after low hanging fruit by itself. There were days where I would see that work, but now you want to paint an entire picture of what it is that your website's going to be about. And then you'd be surprised, you know, what's going to happen is right out of the gate, none of this is going to start ranking. Within a couple of months, right, as you start getting traction, this is going to be the stuff that gets tested immediately. Then this stuff will come, and then you're going to start seeing this stuff start popping up. But you want this to be set up so the entire process is kind of syndicated, right? As you're doing this, then yeah, you don't stop building out the high difficulty keywords. You're going to do that entire thing the entire time until you've filled out your topical map. Now at SirLinks, you know, for example, and this is a new thing, bear with me as we are kind of experimenting with some of this stuff right now, but if you go to SirLinksalot.co right now, we've got a couple of new tools that you can use for free to get some of this information. So topic clustering tool is probably pretty useful to you right here. We'll click on that. We'll say garden tools, cluster them for us. Oops. And sorry, this is going to take a little while, so we'll come back to it. But basically, after you've got a topical map, you're going to start building it out. But don't just focus on building an entire website dedicated to low-hanging fruit. Unless, of course, the low-hanging fruit has enough of like an umbrella type category. So let's say you've got an obscure type of garden tool. Let's say, you know, some kind of weed eater or something like that. And you find out that this weed eater, subcategory of garden tools has a lot of access and it's all low hanging fruit, then yeah, sure, just focus on weed eating as the main part of your website, but there will still be more competitive terms that equate to higher traffic values, along with stuff that equates to like, you know, maybe 20 to 100 monthly traffic, still worthwhile to grab, because as that starts converting for you, it's also going to turn over into the mid-tier and higher tier stuff, right? So that's one way you could break it down. Of course, if you're going more general, it's always the same principle. You're going to mix in the higher competition stuff with the mid to low competition stuff. Let's see, we're here. And so if you check out our tool, you can break this down any number of ways, right? So here's how you'd get a solid topical map, or at least ideas for a solid topical map for a website, right? And again, just come in here, you can do it for free. There's more information for you. And yeah, we know there's some formatting issues, stylization issues, but this just came out and we're trying to provide tools that a lot of people don't have access to that are going to help them in their game. So please bear with us as we're doing this. You know, it's all more free stuff for the community. But then you can do something like take this topical map and start digging deeper with it. You'd start with Ahrefs. 1 second, and I'll just do this with you. And of course, we've got garden tools, but we can also maybe include some of the stuff we had in the topical map. So we'll say maintenance care, essential garden tools, hand tools, things of that nature, garden tools, hand tools, etc. Right? And we're going to put that in here, search. What's going on here? Just go down the garden tools rabbit hole. All right. So then we're going to go in here. We'll get keyword ideas. We can do this based on, you know, the bigger terms. There's 5,000, 6,000 of them. Questions, also rank 4, etc. Right? A lot of you I know ask these questions because you don't have access to Ahrefs. Now, the thing is, this gives you the absolute best data. But if you don't have this, SEMrush or Majestic, you know, can give you at least a good enough kind of concept of what's going on. And then you could use a tool or a set of tools like Mozbar and Keywords Everywhere, which are just extensions of Google, Chrome extensions that you can use to really comb through that data manually. And the way you would do it, I guess I'll just go ahead and show you. If I've got credits on here. No, sorry, I don't have credits. But you would turn this on, come in, garden tools, and with Mozbar turned on and Keywords Everywhere, you're going to get keyword data in here, as well as competitive, sort of like an idea of how competitive each website is based on you know, metrics, Moz metrics, which aren't the most reliable. So you're still going to want to be combing things, but it'll give you a good indication of what you can kind of go after. So, you know, if you're looking for, here you go. So I guess I don't need too many credits to get this going, or they give me some free ones, but It's going to give you a lot of information that then you can kind of manually go through. And if you've got a topical map, say from the clustering tool, and then you're breaking it down using Ahrefs or something comparable, you can further break it down for low hanging fruit keywords by using something like Keywords Everywhere alongside something like Mozbar, right? And then if you're budget doing this, then this is the way to do it. You're going to use either SEMrush or Majestic. And if you can't, if you don't have access to that either, then it's going to be arduous. But manually combing the SERPs using the cheapest thing that I've found, which would be Keywords Everywhere extension alongside Moz, which is free, and then the credits to Keywords Everywhere are very cheap. You could get in there and you could do some damage. Again, you're going to be manually combing things, so it's going to be definitely more arduous, but those are all different ways that you could go about doing that. All right, so I think that would cover basically how you would do the on-page. And then as far as off-page goes, sorry, one sec. As far as off-page goes, yeah, we keep everything the same, basically. What I like to do is I like to make sure that I start out building a strong foundational group of links when we first start out the website. So that's going to come in the form of things like pillow links, diversity links, and I'm talking about our products, right? But this is still going to be universal. Like these types of links are directories, Web 2.0s, all the social profiles you'd want to see yourself on. Basically, all the stuff citations, all the stuff that makes sense for a website to be listed on right out of the gate. You want to get these links. They're going to be natural anchors. So we're talking about branded, naked URL, things of that nature, direct to the home page. You're not getting fancy. You're not doing anything to inner pages, yada, yada. And honestly, from month number one, this is all going to depend on how, you factor in your budget alongside what you're doing with both on page and off page. But I would get started doing things like adding niche edits and guest posts right out of the gate, because I don't mind injecting authority right out of the gate. Now, some old school ways of thought might tell you, you got to be careful with things like link velocity, yada, yada. It's not the case. It's just about being strategic with how you blend all this stuff together. You're creating a narrative. So if you're a new company, you just came on the scene, you're obviously getting all your foundational links, so you're being found everywhere that a normal company would be found. And then on top of that, you've got press in the form of guest posts, niche edits, or maybe even digital PR or something like that if you're a bigger company. Well, then these are all things that are going to make sense. The algorithm is going to see it as you're getting press, you're a new company, all of that makes sense, right? What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to tailor it exclusively to the homepage with natural anchors. And that's including these higher priced links. That looks incredibly natural, and it makes sense that the homepage should and would be getting the majority of the attention. There are cases that I've talked about where, you can kind of shift up this idea, but especially if you're asking this question, then just focus on the bread and butter, which is doing things this way. And you're gonna get longevity to your projects, as well as, not have to deal with any headaches like, did I over optimize this? Did I do this? Blah, blah, blah. If you do this for the next 2 to 3 to 4 months, depending on how competitive your niche is, what you're going to come to find, or what you're going to be looking for, is the moment that your graph doesn't just start kind of taking off and give you rankings for low-hanging fruit, but it's going to kind of skyrocket at some point in time. Also, this is going to depend on your link velocity and how aggressive you're being. However, still, if you're right about the competition that you're in your market, then sticking to this and giving yourself the right budget to attack these markets is going to ensure that you do get that rank graph going up. And that's kind of when you can realize, all right, I've gained trust in search here at this point in time, and now I can start strategically adding a little bit more influence to the stuff I want to rank for. And if you've got good overall health because you've done your on-page and off-page factors. Now, I didn't even go on with on-page. Remember, you're writing this content with the intent of an algorithm digesting it properly. So use something like Surfer SEO in order to optimize this content so that you're being read properly by crawlers. If all of that is optimized properly, then your backlinking campaign is going to go a lot further. Once you've got everything moving up in the search, because you did everything very naturally and very easily, then you can inject a little PBN, a little guest post or niche edit here, inner page with exact match anchor, and you can start seeing where that would influence that inner page substantially more than if you just start trying to kick that thing right out of the gate. It's not going to work in this day and age. So, you know, I could probably talk about this for another like 2 hours. We've got a lot of videos on this, but those are the basic principles. You're coming up with a really strong content plan, and you're adding a very strong backlinking campaign under the guise of it not being manipulative, right? So you're just exclusively sending to the home page. You're moving slow through everything. Yeah. So I don't think I want to take too much more time on that. We've gone for like 20 minutes on it, but I hope that maybe helped clarify some stuff. If you got more specifics, bring them into the questions, and I can get into that. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, make sure to give us a like, drop a comment, subscribe, so you don't miss out on any future SEO insights. And hey, if you're serious about your rankings, head over to SirLinksalot.co, check out our premium link building services, guides, and free SEO tools. See you next time.